The radio, a seemingly declining industry that has been through several years of falling listeners, plummeting listening time, and a dramatic decrease in the number of young viewers. Despite stations like BBC Radio 1's best efforts, these listeners aren't returning anytime soon, and studies suggest that this pattern will continue with the generations that follow. So what is killing the radio star? Well, I don't want to say the obvious answer, but yes, it is streaming services. Spotify has become the norm for listening to music with 86 million paying subscribers as of December 2018. And that's just those that pay. A further 69 million listeners do not pay but still use Spotify in the same year. What else has been apparent in taking away radio listenership? Well, ironically, podcast platforms such as Anchor and Gimlet have become more and more popular over the years, even leading to their takeover by Spotify. Over 207 million monthly users are on podcast platforms, with the numbers set to increase. Spotify themselves have said that they expect over 20% of their listeners will be for non-music content, such as podcasts. Not looking good for radio. So which radio stations seem to be remaining successful? Well, BBC Radio 1 have been successful in maintaining their audience by appealing to younger viewers through the presentation of The Breakfast Show and its presenters intended to help young listeners relate to those they are listening to. Capital UK have also been successful, but mainly due to the mainstream music played to appeal to younger listeners, instead of engaging with an audience and being quote-unquote relatable. Now, could radio potentially make a comeback? In spite of the major drop-off in listeners, radio is still holding strong. At the end of 2018, radio clocked up a record £730 million worth of ad revenue. This seems to correlate with the launch of the BBC Sounds app, in which users can listen to the radio wherever they may be, as long as they have service, of course. This adaptation via the use of technology demonstrates that radio may not be on its last legs, and could continue to have successful years by the power of technology. Now, personally, I don't listen to much of the radio. If it's playing in the car with my family, then I'll listen, but otherwise, I will just listen to my own music, most of which will never get played on the radio, whether it isn't a popular genre or it swears often. And trust me, nobody enjoys radio edits of songs to cut out swearing. They just ruin the track, basically. Whether radio can make a recovery in the future, I have some faith, despite the rise of streaming services and podcasts. Thank you for listening. Here is an abrupt outro.